Welcome, everyone, to episode 24 of the official podcast for Guardian 1, a Destiny group dedicated to the prosperity of Guardians everywhere. We broadcast live Thursdays at 8 Pacific, 11 Eastern, right here on twitch.tv/Guardian 1 Network. My name is Remy, and tonight I am joined by River.
Shout out to Bell Bunny, who can smell what the river is cooking.
Crimson Warlock.
Hey, everybody. Good evening.
Jez.
Good morning, everyone.
And Agrios.
Greetings, Guardians.
We are going to be talking about all things Destiny, but first, housekeeping.
All right, everyone. Thank you for listening in on the podcast, however it is that you choose to listen. Be sure to follow Guardian 1 on Twitter at G1NET. That's, again, G1NET. And just a reminder, the Twitter account is the only instance where we use the number 1. So, again, that's G1 NET. In addition, be sure to check out the Guardian 1 website at guardian1.net. You can also send us feedback to our email, feedback@guardian1.net. We also have a Bungie.net forums group that's currently at 124 members. If you want to join, just search for the group name Guardian 1. Guardian 1 has its own clan, so if you want to join the Guardian 1 clan, just select the buttons that say set as PlayStation clan or set as Xbox clan after you join the group. We utilize the forums for comments and feedback, so be sure to join the conversations going on there. Big thank you to all those currently in the Twitch chat. As Remy said at the top of the podcast, you can watch the show live at twitch.tv/Guardian1 Network. We broadcast every Thursday at 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific. Can't catch the show live? You can always go to the Guardian 1 YouTube channel at youtube.com/Guardian1 Network. Guardian 1 is a proud member of the Guardian Radio Network, so be sure to check out the Guardian Radio Network website at theguardiansofdestiny.com. There you'll find all the different podcasts that's part of the network, including the flagship podcast, Guardian Radio. They broadcast every Monday night, 10:30 p.m. Eastern, 7:30 p.m. Pacific on twitch.tv/Guardian Radio. You can also follow their Twitter account at Guardians of D and the YouTube channel, youtube.com/Guardian Radio. Other podcasts include Warlock School, the DoD podcast, TTL Party Chat, and the audio drama Ghost and Echoes. Let's rock.
Well, all right then.
All right.
I didn't expect that. That's funny. Okay. I would like to... Well, first, thank you very much, River.
Yeah, not a problem.
So I would like to just take a moment and go over some of the comments people have left on our YouTube for the videos. We will be soon making the leap to iTunes as well, and I will also read comments from there. But I would like to start off. Well, I'll just go in reverse order. So starting with the latest one, which was by Zachary Lane. He says, "Good show, guys. Love the game. Went from PS3 to PS4. My opinion, Destiny 1 is the beta for Destiny 2. Figure out what works and don't. So we are just paying beta testers for one of the greatest games." And well, first, thank you, Zachary, for commenting. And secondly, I totally agree. Like, I feel like Bungie had to put out a certain amount of things that were going to work and a certain amount of things that were, on the outlying area of what might work. And seeing where people are going and what they're choosing to do with their time. So I definitely feel like this is this is a true it is a true fact. We are paying beta testers for the greatest game, and I don't even mind. I really don't even mind. Like, I'm having a great time. I get to keep everything that I earn, which actually brings up something that I want to go further into later on in maybe another episode. Is how is it that they keep our stuff from just disappearing? Like, if you get dropped to orbit, how is it that in the middle of changing something from my vault to my character, it doesn't get deleted? Because this happened to me. I had held down the button to transfer something, my Vanquisher 8 to my person, and I got kicked to orbit right after it said ch-ch, and it sent it to it, and I logged back in expecting to see it gone, because I don't understand what safeguards they have in place. I think that would be a really interesting topic. But what about you, River? Is Zachary on point? Do you think that we're paying beta testers?
That's a pretty interesting question, because I kind of was thinking about this not even that long ago, like a couple days ago. And if you really, really want to put it that way, yeah, I could probably see how this is like a glorified beta test, or maybe an alpha test even. And and whenever Destiny, it's a really good opportunity for them, since this is their first game since Halo, to really learn some, lots of lessons learned, basically, in this new kind of game that they're putting out. And I expect Destiny 2 to be much, much better, and take in a lot of the feedback that we've been giving them ever since.
Yeah, definitely. Crimson Warlock, same question. What do you think? Zachary onto something here?
Yeah, I would definitely agree that we are paying beta testers. But at the same time, we're taken care of a lot better than beta testers because we're paying for it. A lot of times beta testers are volunteers. And, Deej and the other community managers, I think they do a great job of responding to feedback. I mean, it's not as prompt as I know a lot of community members might want. It takes a while to get patches, it takes a while to get fixes, but, when you have 9.5 million players playing your game, yeah, they're beta testers for you. They're going to find all of the bugs, they're going to find all the nooks and crannies that you missed, and then you can fix the game from there. But again, going forward, it's just going to get better. Destiny patch, what are we on, 1.01 something? I don't know, but
Yeah,
it was a lot better than patch 1.0 launch day. It's changed, it's gotten a lot better, and it's a lot more enjoyable, and going forward it will just be better.
yeah, I hear that. Jez.
Well, as someone that just bought alpha access to a game today, no, not really, because you could kind of say that for every game. Like, you're just paying to beta test their next sequel. Like, every game is a learning experience for every developer. And if you think that this is a beta test just because of the content, that's probably kind of off the mark, because anything is going to be bigger and better anyways, even if it was a success. So no matter what, they're always learning. Like, even if you think it's a beta test, they know. I can't phrase it. They know what they're doing. They were gonna do this anyways, even if this was like the perfect game for you.
I see what
Because
you're saying.
everyone will still have their word to say about it.
I hear you. That makes sense to me. Agrios.
Yeah, I kind of agree with most of what the others have said, and also, like Jez, to a degree. I think they pushed the boundaries a lot with this type of game. A lot of games now are, experiencing a lot of new hurdles they have to get over with the online always situation, trying to kind of connect everybody at once. There's a lot of different computer systems involved with, doing something like that, and they're locked down to consoles. They can't, on a PC, there's all kinds of other variables the consumer can go through to try to get online. with the PlayStation, everybody's locked down on the console end, so they have to make all those systems that can't ever be changed cooperate. So it's an interesting new kind of world the video games are pushing forward into. So they're all kind of a test to a degree, kind of like what Jez was saying. So I think if they thought they could do this all more flawlessly than they had, that maybe they might not have elected to put it on last gen systems and go all out. But I think the more feedback, the better, and that's kind of why it was on last gen and current gen.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. You bring up a lot of good points, and really, I think that Jez has a lot of good points as well, and it feels like if you are somebody who hasn't run the raid yet, it's probably because you haven't had the amount of time that it takes to put into it to get your level up high enough to find a connection, whether it be sending out random messages in the tower, or whether it's finding groups online, or even making your friends buy the same system and game. Like I think that it's definitely not a beta test to those people. But to people who have already decimated, that's the wrong word, to people who have already completely destroyed the game, like I feel bad for them, because this has to feel like a beta test. Because I think that when we look back at what Destiny 1 was in comparison to really even the next release, it's going to feel like a beta test. Like I don't have enough time to actually get tired of Destiny, and I put a lot of time into it. So thank you, Zachary, for your comment. Hope you're enjoying the show. Next comment comes from Freddie. He says, quote, "Bannermen. I absolutely love that concept and would love to be a part of something like that." Well, Freddie, you are in luck. We will be contacting you, and we will get what system you're on and what activities exactly you are interested in promoting and moving out. But yeah, thank you for your comment. And guys, if you have something to say to any one of these comments, like I'm just going to run through it unless I have a question that I want to ask everybody. But just jump in. Like maybe if you knew this Freddie guy, you could say, "What's up, Freddie?" Otherwise, moving on. Alex says, "Good listen as always, guys. Out of all the Destiny podcasts I listen to, you guys are one of the best. Happy New Year, fellow Guardians." Well, thank you very much, Alex. We appreciate you listening. And, in order to put together a good podcast, it's really like alchemy. I have no idea how this works. It's a mystery to me that it's like a band. It's like a musical band. Like, how is it that these people play in time and what they all are saying sounds good? But we really appreciate it, and we're glad that you are happy about it, because we are very happy about doing this. This podcast it's actually what's keeping my life from basically slipping away from me. Like having this newborn, and it's really made time just go super fast. And the one thing anchoring me to not just having weeks fly by is this weekly get together. So it's therapeutic on top of entertainment. So very glad that you like it, Alex. Thanks for commenting. Tommy says, "Guardian 1 OTG off the ground. Helping new Guardians is one of my favorite things to do in game." That is great to hear, Tommy. I will be contacting you shortly about your methods and to see exactly where you would fit. We are looking for people of all backgrounds, of all types and abilities. So definitely going to be contacting you. Thank you for commenting. Shim is rad says, "This show rules!" Exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point. Well, thank you, Shim. We really appreciate you listening. It's great to have you as a listener, and if you have any questions or comments, let us have them. Moving on. Aravis 123 says, one thing that will fix the issues of looking the same as all the other Guardians is to add styles to the gear in the same way Dota 2 sets have styles to their items. Has anyone here played Dota 2?
Negative.
Wow.
I've played a very small bit of it.
Do you know what he's talking about here?
I think he's talking about how Steam gives you kind of access to make your own. You can make your own like skins. Each character has a couple of like item slots where they can equip different looking equipment, and the community can make their own skins and kind of sell them on Steam. I think that's what it is.
Wow.
I could be wrong, but I do believe that's what it was. But I didn't really get into it much, but I know that there is an ability where the community can create their own items for the game that are cosmetic for their champions.
Man, that would be outstanding. That would be outstanding, and something I unfortunately have to say we're probably pretty far away from. I think that when I read this, I thought to myself that this could be where okay, so there's different versions of these armors. There's like Gravebreaker 2, Gravebreaker 4. Like it's the same piece of armor but with different options. I think that if it's going to even look slightly different, it would be really cool to have maybe a transmogrification from the same pool of stuff. So you wouldn't be getting a transfer necessarily. It would just look different in that realm. You guys know what I'm talking about? Like how the different pieces of gear have different versions, and they look slightly different. They do slightly different things.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this is actually something that I could really see being super cool. And how cool would it be to work towards that? Like if that was just an additional, like here's another version, like in Halo Reach, there you unlocked a piece of armor, and then through experience and also purchasing with in-game dollars, you could unlock certain alternate versions of that same piece of gear. I think that would go a long way to making this feel different. Like if every single one of those Crota helmets had 3 different variants per that you could just choose, like that would go huge. That would be huge in moving us towards that area.
We talked about that before, right?
River.
Said, we talked about that before, right?
I do, and until it's fixed, we need to keep talking about it.
And for those who don't remember or hadn't listened to that episode, it was a suggestion by a couple of us that instead of, to add to the upgrading exotics, to add another little slot for an alternate skin. So if you had like a vanilla Suros regime and you upgraded it to the new 331 attack, you would also unlock a different skin for that exotic as well.
Oh,
but then you lose Vanilla Icebreaker.
Yes, Vanilla Icebreaker. Come on, River.
No, it would just be a choice. Like you could switch in between depending on what your mood is that day. You feeling like Vanilla Icebreaker? Change it on out.
I looked up the Dota 2 style sets, and just a real quick glance, if I understand, like unique, like rare pieces of armor come with several different style sets on that can be chosen, and it's like you can still tell it's that item, but it's a different variant of that item. So if different people wearing different combinations of items with all different style sets selected, you might be able to still tell they're wearing, Light Beyond Nemesis, but it's got this slightly different look than this other Light Beyond Nemesis. So by the time you add up the combinations of how all the different pieces have their own little, I'm picking style 3 on this one and style 2 on this one, then people end up looking a little bit more different.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they are partnered with Activision, so where are gold-plated weapons?
Oh, gross.
No, honestly, my first thought was like the Crota's End helmet has like horns on it for like I think Titans and Warlocks have horns on them.
Mm-hmm.
But it'd be cool if like you could have ones with broken horns or like plated horns,
Yeah,
like
that would
just
be
something
really cool.
slightly different.
That would be
I'd
really
Yeah,
cool.
those are cool.
I'd love to see the Bungie artists, do different alternate versions of our favorite exotics.
Right.
I'd love to be able to, pick up something from our enemies and make our armor themed off that instead of having the raid armor themed always. Like how fun would it be to have a Light Beyond Nemesis that already has the horns but put a hive look to it
So, Crimson
because you have
Warlock.
like a hive add-on.
Crimson
or
Warlock. Have you heard of Monster Hunter?
No.
Basically, the entire game is about like taking down giant monsters and carving them up and using them as armor pieces.
Wow,
Heard
I'm
number
game.
4 is coming out.
Yeah.
that's cool. You know what? That's actually one of the things way before Destiny launched, I was doing a series of videos about what I'd like to see in Destiny, and one of those was a breakdown of how cool it would be to defeat a certain enemy and then get like a bit and then just add it to your armor, almost same thing with what was it? The Red Death. Red Death had those little red X's, little red skulls on the side, showing how many you had destroyed or something like. And then I got into the mindset that this could be something like in the Forza series where you had stamps and you could detail these things yourself. That was way a long time ago, but that seems so far away now. And so I'd really just like a middle ground, and being able to unlock an alternate version of the same piece of gear. You would still have the recognition that Bungie wants. Bungie wants people to say, I see this piece of gear, I know where it came from, I know what it does. If they still want that, they can still have that, but give us some variety, like which Suros do you have? Is it the blue and black one? Is it this white and red one? It would just be cool to have options. It would just really be cool to have options. So, right on. There you are, RFS123. Thank you for commenting. Hope you're enjoying the show. Next one is from Christoph. He says, keep up the good work, guys. Love what you do. Wish one day to join a podcast, share some opinions. Yes, having this podcast has been amazing, and having these people to do this podcast with me is amazing. It's a lot of work. I have a computer with 2 screens right now. One of them is capturing the chat. One of them is capturing the visualization of this Skype. There's an additional one that's actually doing the broadcasting, and then I have a second whole computer doing my voice. So it's a lot of work, but it's totally worth it, and it's something that you can build upon. Read about it first. Actually, there's a really great resource at BLUBRRY.com, Blueberry. It's got a podcasting manual, and it's got everything. I wish I had seen this before I started trying to do this podcast, because it basically spells out every step that you might not be thinking about, important things that will pop up down the road. But it's awesome, and I suggest you take a look at it if you are still interested in that, Christoph. And there's room for everybody. There's everybody. What you're talking about, there are people in the world doing that or wanting more information. They will find you. And they will enjoy your podcast, hopefully. So thank you very much for the comment, Christoph. The next comment comes from Show Nuff, and I'm hoping that this is a nod to Barry Gordy's The Last Dragon, which might be the best movie ever made, at least to 9-year-old me when I first saw it and fell in love with it. I'm pretty certain that that's where this came from. It might not be, but he says, Show Nuff says, I'd rather have the chat on all the time and mute the annoying people. When I say on all the time, just on strikes or team activities, PvP, but not at the tower, have a toggle on off for the tower. Man, I would love, love, love to have a chat at the tower. I would love, love, love to have chat at the tower. Like I don't know, just being able to jump into a conversation and find out what people are doing. Like someone could just be saying, looking for group. Like it would be so amazing. It would be so helpful. Uh, but this, I believe, was posted before the when they changed that the audio. So yeah, and we have actually discussed toggling on at the tower. So thank you, Shonuff, for your comment. Ol-Eyed says, "Love the show, people. Keep up the good work, and looking forward until next episode." Yep, thank you, Ol, for your comment. Appreciate it. Biotic Flux says, "Game is trash." Well, I could definitely understand this game not being for you. You know, I had huge expectations for it before it came out, and if I hadn't accepted what they were giving to me, I could definitely see like this game had a lot of things that I didn't that I really wanted to see more. But to say game is trash, I think it's oversimplifying it a little bit. River, I have something to ask you. What do you say, if anything, when you come across this line of thought in public or in the internet world? Like, do you just move on? You know, check out and move on. Like this guy is obviously never going to. He's not going to be interested in it unless he himself makes his way back to Bungie and enjoys this. Do you say anything to this guy, River, or what?
Maybe not to this guy, but I have had my share of going on the Bungie.net forums and just making arguments against those who have certain points of view. It's not like I'm seeking them out, but whenever I see something that just seems vastly misinformed, I just have that urge to kind of let them know, hey, what's what. And if they continue to have that same outlook, that's totally fine on them. I don't play with them. I don't care. I just think that maybe they should give more of a chance, you know?
What's that, Agrios?
I was going to say, I think that's what it comes to for me, is like, are they offering something of substance in their criticism, or are they just straight up, like he said, this game's trash? Because if they're not offering anything of substance, well, then there's nothing really to address.
Like, what's your reasoning? Like, why do you think that? And that's the ones that I go for personally.
Yeah. Yeah, I can definitely see that. You know, this guy isn't. Yeah, he's got nothing to. Game is trash. He's probably 12.
Maybe he has no friends, and it's a cry for help, and he wants somebody to play with him.
You know, okay,
yeah, maybe
I could definitely even see you, because as my time with Destiny grew thin over the last couple of weeks, I started to feel like, I don't know, it was an uncomfortable sensation where I didn't want to play Destiny because I knew I wasn't going to be able to accomplish what I wanted to accomplish. And that's a way frustrating feeling. And for somebody who doesn't have friends, or who can only communicate with others through negative words, like I could see it. I could see the game being trash, like because I've seen what Destiny can be when you have a team of 5 other people and you're taking down a huge task. I could see not having access to that being a huge problem. So, yeah, I don't know.
In defense of a comment like this, I mean, he wasn't horrible in what he said. The game's trash. I mean, if he thinks it's trash, that's his opinion. In defense of a comment like that, Bungie didn't exactly present the scope of Destiny very clearly initially. I think potentially people who have very restrictive tastes in gaming, who don't like a lot of variety, perhaps you only like the extremely open world Fallout type games, or you only like, super technical competitive type games. that you can set matches up in and things. Well, then if you come in only liking those type of games and we're hoping that Destiny was a version of one of them, well, of course you're going to think it's trash.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. What about you, Warlock?
So this is kind of interesting. I have a coworker who, when Destiny first came out, he was keeping tabs on it and stuff because I was talking with a bunch of my other coworkers and friends about it, and I was really hyped up for it. And so he was keeping tabs on it, and once launch came and reviews started coming in, he was like, just kind of, oh, are you sure you spent your $60 right, kind of a thing. And well, it's getting these bad reviews, and it's kind of like, you can take what the reviewers say, and you can believe them, or you can try it out yourself. And he's like, oh, well, I played it for like an hour and I got to level 4, and it just wasn't my game. And I'm like, okay. I kind of left him to his opinion, but like every time a new patch came out, or a new thing that was positive or negative came out, he was always like, oh, well, what do you think about it now? And I'm like, opinion hasn't changed. I still like the game. And he was just wanting me to resent the game for some reason, and every time he was trying to bait me into arguing with him about why it wasn't good, or this, that, and the other. And I usually was pretty good at countering his arguments in a lot of ways, or comparing it to other games. But to anyone who kind of says the game's trash, I said it before earlier, the game's changed already than what it was before. And if you think the game's trash, come back in a year and try it again, because there'll be a lot more content out by that time, a lot more changes, and you might actually find the game to be a lot of fun. For me, an example of that was Diablo 3. Like, I got Diablo 3, played it for a little while, and then I just stopped because it just wasn't fun. The loot system was always giving me stuff for other classes than the one I was playing. And then they came out with the Loop 2.0, and it was a completely different game after that. And it's so much more enjoyable. And just if you think it's trash right now, that's fine. But keep that opinion open and come back to it later. You might be surprised what you see.
I agree. I think that, yeah, like we've said many times, Destiny is going to be such a different creature. I mean, like we've said, it already is. Jez.
Yeah, it literally is just his opinion if he thinks it's trash or not, but it's really, if someone doesn't give it a chance and they're still calling it trash, then they don't have enough information to form a valid opinion to respond to it all.
Yeah.
So most people that say it's trash tend to have never played it, or just go by what other people have said.
Yeah. Yep, I hear that. Well,
yeah, there's a better chance than not they're just a troll, regardless of this conversation. Yeah. But
and somehow they're winning.
There's even a chance they might not even know what Destiny is.
Totally. It occurred to me right now while we were discussing this that the only thing that you could really say to this person is, "Yep, Destiny is absolutely trash," and then they are without, like what do they say more after that? After you agree with them, like you can't. That's the end of the conversation. So, right on. Moving on. Christy says, "Thanks, guys." Smiley face. I'm thinking that this might have something to do with a shout out that we had done previously. But you are very welcome.
Nice save.
Jaime Esparza says, "I like your guys' thoughts." Well, thank you very much. We have lots of them, and we appreciate that. Ol-Eyed says, "Good to have you back, smiley face." Thank you very much. Let's see. My terminal illness says, "Pro tip, mute Skype while broadcasting." Well, my terminal illness, I agree, and for some reason I can't pin down where this is happening. I don't hear it through my side at all, But when I go back and listen to the recordings, there is like a ton of bloop. So yes, your pro tip has not fallen on deaf ears, and I wish I could do something about it. Jumbo sees, hey guys, great podcast as ever. Just wanted to say I'll definitely be sticking around after release for more of your banter. Well, this is clearly before this came out, so awesome. I hope that you are still enjoying the show. Thank you for listening. And then I actually wanted to end this section with this. It was a Reddit article that I thought kind of fit in with something that we had been saying previously, and it sounded really good. It was submitted by Scruffy Lookin'. They say, I know this has been desired and discussed at length, but I just had an idea, and I really, really think it would be awesome. This was titled XXIV Kostov. So as most of us know, military model AR-15s are select fire weapons. They have semi-burst and full auto capabilities. This would be incredible. Each of the upgrades rebalances the rifle into scout, pulse, or auto rifle stats. A choice of 3 options. Its exotic perk is 3 fire modes, and then whatever else they decide to throw on. Last round rodeo, honestly, I don't care. The ability to rebalance the weapon alone would be incredible. We already know rebalancing the stats is easily doable looking at a weapon like Murmur. Please, Bungie, ? And I thought, man, this would be so cool. Like being able to change the weapon to those 3 different ones. Clearly not necessarily as awesome as changing the element that the weapon does damage by, but I think that this is a great use for this river.
So it sounds like he's wanting to change the fire rate. Is that what I'm hearing right?
Yeah, like he wants to be able to switch it from a scout rifle to a pulse rifle to an auto rifle.
I'm not sure how that would really balance out. I mean, you got stuff like the Vex Mythoclast, I guess. That's a fusion rifle, right?
Yeah.
Well, if you think of it, like Murmur, when you switch it between the different elements, its entire stats change.
Yeah.
So they don't have to keep the same stats for each mode.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so as you turn up the rate of fire, your impact can go way down. So it could start with a high impact, but as you flip it to pulse rifle, then the impact would drop some and the rate of fire would go up, and then you flip to auto rifle and the rate of fire would go up even more and the impact would go down even more.
I think that would be cool.
Yeah, that would be cool as like an exotic weapon, like a singular weapon stat, basically. That's unique to one, like just like Murmur. So I would find that very interesting. Maybe not for all
Three
weapons.
Musketeers.
You know what I would like to see if something like this was implemented. This was a thing I commented on. Did you guys happen to see the Reddit post about the double dragon?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hand cannon?
Fill us in. Oh yeah, dueling.
Yeah, it was the hand cannons that were dual wielding. One was solar, one was arc, and you dual wield them. And so I'm going to apply this thought to both the double dragon and this type of a weapon, I guess you could say. But to keep the theme of the Husk of the Pit, to get this double dragon, you'd have to find both of these hand cannons and upgrade them, and then you eventually get to combine them into that exotic. And so, like with this weapon that changes the rate of fire, what if you had to find the scout rifle, the auto rifle, and the pulse rifle, and level them up to a certain degree.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And then you dismantled them and put them into a new gun.
Yeah,
that like two of them could be components of the other one, or all part of like a bounty or something like that.
Yeah,
man, that would be
and
so cool.
I really like the this Husk of the Pit and the ally into the Necrochasm, because it really does give you a sense of progression, more than anything else I've really seen in Destiny when it comes to weapons and stuff. I mean, it really makes you feel like you're working towards a reward instead of just getting lucky at the end of the Nightfall for that exotic or something.
Yeah, That's a really great point. There's a lot of need in Destiny for feeling like you're working towards something, instead of it being a absolute random luck of the draw. Like
Slot machine.
yeah, like there should definitely be a larger aspect where you are building something, like, and I don't feel like the exotic bounties really fulfill the need that I'm talking about, because basically it's basically the same amount of go here, do this, and then, but what the reward is at the end. Like, it's, I don't know, how would you even improve upon that as far as building further up?
Cutscenes?
Ooh, cutscenes. That would be cool. More story, more background.
Yeah,
See-
like the way I feel is they need to really build upon that feeling. Is they need to add a cutscene of you dismantling or crafting the weapon or something. I feel, they
Yeah,
got to
I
show
mean-
you doing that as the Guardian. That makes you feel legendary. Or, I mean, even if you saw the gunsmith do it, at least it'd be an improvement. I feel.
How
Man,
cool
that's
would this
cool.
be if you, like, you're completing your bounty, or you got all your parts together. Now you're standing in the tower, like, talking to the gunsmith, and it's time to, like, assemble the weapon. And a big, like, flash of light swirls around you. Everybody in the tower can see your cutscene happening in real physical time. The gun, like, glows and assembles in front of you and falls into your hands or something like that. It could even be like a tiny little, oh look, that dude, just popped a new awesome gun.
And
That would
then
be cool.
Navi can fly around you, and Link can make the sound of getting a new item.
I like it. I like that a lot. Um, okay. And lastly, I would like to comment on this. Jez commented to us in our private chat. He says, "Since I'm slowly taking the mantle of anti-hero, I want to hear your thoughts on this interview that came out less than a year before launch and how well it translated into launch." And so, number one, I want to know, on what earth are you talking about where you're slowly taking the mantle of anti-hero? Because you might not know this, Jez, but that was the reason I invited you onto this podcast. Because I need someone who's willing to come to the same conclusion but take an entirely different route, which is what you are.
Well, see, you never. If you live long enough, you become the villain, I guess. I just
Right.
didn't know it.
Well, now you know. It's no surprise to us. Did any of you other guys were like, "What is he talking about?" I mean, your avatar had been Deadpool for like forever. That says a lot about your character.
Awesome.
He is awesome. So why don't you give us a real quick recap, Jez, of what the core of what you were trying to get at here?
Well, basically, the way that he was talking about the I can't even remember his name. It's been like a week since I've seen it. He was talking about the investment system and how everything needed to be. I really should have re-watched it today. It was more focused on how the investment needed impact. Like, you didn't just get a gun and then you started using it. That it was more about doing this and getting that gun because you did that, not just random luck.
Okay, so he was probably talking about the exotic bounties then.
Most likely that's what he had in mind, but it was also, I don't know, it was a very general comment in the video. Should probably find that video to link it.
Agrios,
Nice.
you had a pretty good take on this. What was it that you were thinking?
Well, I think I'm going to go yes and no. Did they accomplish what they're looking to accomplish there? I think everybody's excited to get the particular exotics and things that you want. They're hard to come by unless Xur just happens to sell the one that you have, and that's actually the other side of the coin. Is that things like Xur go ahead and take the specialness right out of a weapon. Now, Xur sold Gjallarhorn, but it was more the timing of when he sold it than anything that made Gjallarhorn so much more sought after. If you weren't fortunate enough to pick one up in the first 2 weeks of the game, whenever he sold that, then you had to get lucky enough to get a Gjallarhorn. So they're definitely managed to make these weapons that were sought after. But yeah, like I said, Xur and things like that take the specialness then out of some weapons. And it gets to the point over a period of time where back to this whole thing about all Guardians end up looking the same, having the same loadout.
Yeah.
There's no way to work toward even variant pieces of those armors to have your own specific intellect, strength, discipline loadout, because you just have to be lucky enough to happen across one. I really think, I mean, I'm going a little bit off topic here, but I really think if they would have went further to make it, I don't know. I don't know what they could have done to make the game still fair, yet have, these unique, more exotic things. I mean, you either have to put things as specific rewards from specific bosses, or kind of do what they're doing right now.
Yeah,
that makes sense to me. River, you had a comment?
I just wanted to say though that the original video was actually about. It was talking about how the recon armor in Halo. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
How people went out and sought after these particular things because it was such a challenge, and they could show off that they did this challenge.
Totally.
Right.
And it was probably also alluding to the raid at that point.
I think so.
But I'm not sure if the raid would count, because the normal mode is where you can get all the gear, except for the helmet in Vault of Glass, but not the same in Crota's End.
Yeah.
And that's all really different from what Reach was, because in Reach you had like that list of of gear that you could work towards, hit this many credits and this is what you'll unlock. In this case, it's all RNG. It's all so random, and I'm kind of glad they put in stuff like like Xur for some people to purchase, because imagine how upset most people would be if every single thing was based on RNG.
Yeah.
Right.
There's still some people who don't have, more than one exotic. How disheartening would they be?
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. And with the system that they have in place, you're going to gain enough strange coins eventually if you just keep playing. Like even if you don't sit down to do the weekly strikes. So yeah, I think that them having that out there, like Xur, I think that that's really important for keeping people coming back. Like there's a huge amount of people, and they're split up into so many different ways. There's like people who have more time than even Destiny has to give them. They've already done all the strikes. It's Thursday and they're already done with everything. Or it was Wednesday and they've already done everything that reset on Tuesday. Those people, I could see being upset that Xur's just selling the last word again. Oh my god, I'm so tired of seeing that. Let's get something else in here. No last word, no plan C. Let's have something cool. I don't know. Is anyone
That's all based randomly too, isn't it? That's all based on an algorithm, and it's all at random what Xur is given out, isn't it?
And it's also random if you get the bounties.
Yeah, I've seen the Pocket Infinity and the Super Good Advice bounties once. In
me too.
The 300 plus hours I've put into Destiny, I've only seen those bounties once. And I would really like the Pocket Infinity back, so I could get my vault space back, because I have 10 fusion rifles waiting for that bounty.
Man, that's crazy.
That's on the flip side of the coin on that one too. I'm working on my third Thorn, my third Bad Juju, and I think my third Invect.
Wow, that's awesome.
I think the problem I was trying to highlight with this video is that you're in those games you were working towards something, and here you're just kind of in Destiny you're just working and hoping for something.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, I'd say they failed compared to the recon armor thing. I mean, the closest thing, like you said before, are the bounties to that sort of situation, but it's still random whether you even get those. Apparently, it's like I've seen them tons of times, but apparently they've been a lot more scarce for others.
Yeah, raids work in my mind just because it's more of a classic. This boss can drop this type of weapon, type of scenario. So that while they don't drop it all the time, you know it's guaranteed that sometimes it will.
Yeah.
To be honest, I suspect that may be how Destiny was going to be, at least for some of the weapons. And I think that may have been changed along the way. Now, I don't have anything really good to back that up. Something I feel like at some point they talked about things won in certain places and things like that during the early weekly updates.
Yeah, let's all go bet on some Crucible matches.
Right. Right. I'll go AFK this time, and then you guys we'll all take turns going AFK so we can get exotics. Yeah, I think that he was definitely referring to raids in that video, because he said like the Vidmaster challenge was something where you had to go and grab other people to complete it, because it was basically nuts to try and do. And I can definitely see how that was brought into Destiny, and I just wish that there was more. I just wish that there was more that you could work towards. You know, like even the exotic bounties are random. I've seen a ton of them too. So I don't know. I am sad for people who don't get that. But I was also lucky enough to get that Yellowhorn in that, what was it, week 2 when they sold it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was.
So,
Red Death first week and third week, I believe.
I'm in your same boat.
oh
I
yeah.
have not had a Galahorn since. Or Yellowhorn, as it should be said, but yeah.
I didn't have one till recently, and then over the past 2 weeks, I had 3 drop for me.
That's crazy. That's crazy talk.
I've yet to see one.
Yeah, I had 3 drop over the past 2 weeks.
I was lucky enough to pick one up on the Xbox it was a legendary engram that turned into Yellowhorn, and I hadn't had it on the Xbox yet. And so that's pretty cool. Yellowhorn's a great weapon. It's beautiful. It's powerful, but I don't feel like it's like in the very beginning when it was my only exotic. It was like, man, look at this. I'm amazing, and this is amazing, and how cool is this? But now I really feel like the power is in the primary, or even the power is in the secondary. The heavy only comes up when it's like a specific target. Here's a Praetorian. Pull out the Yellowhorn. But I think overall, it's really, it comes down to Icebreaker for me, which is really sad, because I only picked up Icebreaker like 3 weeks ago, and I still don't have it on the Xbox. But that is the tool. If I had to pick one weapon that will change your game forever, it's the Icebreaker. So I don't know. I keep going back to the thought that with how many people purchased that, with the ownership rate of that weapon, like I feel like, as much as Bungie says that Xur is random, I feel like at some point they capped it. Like, well, we have 55% ownership and usage of this weapon. Now let's make it rare, and we'll pull it, or we'll drop the chances of it. So I don't know.
On the note of exotic bounties, Crimson, I think it was mentioned he was getting ready to try to find a new Pocket Infinity bounty and had some fusion rifles saved up. I was getting my new Pocket Infinity with the Pocket Infinity bounty and had a dismantle fusion rifle, so I was like, oh, well, I don't need my old Pocket Infinity, and it just says rare or better quality fusion rifle, so I dismantled my old Pocket Infinity. Didn't count.
Oh, man.
Oh gosh.
I thought you were going to say it did like 10 of them.
No, I was at 9 out of 10. I was like, oh, well, I'm not going to need this for long. I'll just dismantle this one, finish that off. Nope. Wah, wah. Sitting there waiting for a fusion rifle.
Oh, man.
That hurts.
I got
so bad.
I'm in the middle of that bounty that you have to pick up, that that special ammo cartridge from Zur, and I finished the 25 strikes like an hour after Zur had left, and so I've just been carrying around this worthless bounty. Okay, so let us. Oh, look, we've got 4 minutes left in the show. Why don't we throw it to Agrios? And is there some big things in there, Agrios? Or is there some stuff you want to go over you think would make for a good show?
Yeah, a couple little things, I guess. All right, so Bungie started by stating they had removed a lot of the cheese from Crota's diet earlier this week, referring to the recent patch, but noted that life finds a way, referring to new cheesing methods already discovered. Have you guys had a chance to run the raid since the patch?
Nope.
Not yet.
Nope.
Not yet. But I have heard about already a cheese for Crota.
For Crota? I've heard about cheeses for the first two areas, but no real new cheese for Crota yet.
Oh, yeah. I saw a cheese for Crota, and it does still involve pulling a LAN cable. I'll just leave it at that.
Interesting. Okay. Well, so there's cheese all around still to be had. But then after saying they went on to say that they hope you have fun no matter how you play, and they cut to the chase by announcing Death Race 2015. Hard mode for Crota's End is ready. We know you are too. The first fire team to sink their teeth and their sword into the final boss by opposing end him will set the pace. We'll be watching. We might even send the world first finishers some swag from the Bungie store. When? Wednesday, January 21st, 10 a.m. Pacific. Or soon after if we need more time to load the starting pistol. Where? To the moon. Access the raid by selecting the activity in your director and choosing the harder difficulty. With the release of hard mode, level 33 is the new bar to clear. Configure those upgrades and get mean. How? I can't give you how to end Crota this time. You don't need my help anyway. If you've experienced hard mode in Vault of Glass, you have some clues for how we can scale up a raid. Prepare to take better care of your teammates. You'll have fewer options for healing yourself and each other. The enemies you're about to face are stronger and more prone to temper tantrums. Be brave. So what do you guys think about the clues drop there? About taking care of your teammates, fewer options for healing yourself, and enemies you're about to face are stronger and more prone to temper tantrums.
Man, wouldn't it be crazy if one of the characters, if one of the fire team had to actively heal the other members?
Welcome to MMOs.
Yeah, exactly.
I still think your life might constantly drop and you have to pass around the chalice.
You know,
Well,
I still haven't beat Crota. Like, I still haven't gone through the raid. You know, Sharks is down here. Oh, we did it normal in 32 minutes. Well, where the hell was that when we spent 3 hours at Crota? It's crap, man. It's crap.
Crota is just a very technical fight that everything that just has to go right to go right.
Yeah, it's like everything has to go perfect to get Crota down, it seems. Like, I mean,
Like,
I
it's
was
not
32
hard,
doing
it's
it
just
last night.
weird.
And it was hard.
Maybe the chalice will be locked to the person who picks it up, and they'll have to heal by standing within like an aura radius of other people.
That would be cool. I could see that being really cool.
Well, see, temper tantrums to me sounds like obviously the Oversoul. Just
Yeah, shorter rage timer, or yeah, I said before, I think maybe like when he changes location on the bridge, like moves from left
Yeah.
to right or something, he'll summon an Oversoul each one of those times too.
like,
Or maybe
and-
when the ogres come out, an Oversoul will pop up at that same time, something like that.
Well, it
Well,
also
see-
sounds like your normal enemies are going to be in that red aura a lot more often.
And I imagine the ones at the end will be 35. I mean, in the level 30 raid, the ones at the end are 2 levels higher at 32. So what? The level 33 hard mode raid, the ones at the end are going to be level 35, right?
well,
I
I'm
think you
not
can do it
sure
at
because
a level behind.
I'm pretty sure they said that they tuned the end, like Crota himself, at 32.
Well, right,
Like-
but I mean, like the mobs and everything that you're fighting at the end, all the ads and everything, they're all level 32 on the level 30 normal mode raid. So
Right,
in the
but
hard mode,
he's
level
saying-
33 mode, I imagine all those things are going to be level 35 critters running around.
Well, he said that it's tuned towards 33.
Yeah, but I if you were 3 levels below, like 32 is the level cap. If you were 3 levels below, I don't think you'd be able to do the last fight being 3 levels below everything.
Well, look at
You do
hard mode
no damage.
Vault of Glass. Like, what was the highest level in that?
30.
Yeah,
Well, there you go.
they kept it. What I'm curious about is like how they're going to like they said to look to Vault of Glass on how they are gonna make it harder. So to me that sounds like they're gonna just take a mechanic from an earlier encounter, and I'm not sure what that would be, unless it would be like after you kill the knights, it spawns a shrieker, which would be hell.
Oh,
Bell
That
Bunny
would
in the chat says Chalice will have a recharge time like the Relic in the Vault of Glass.
Ooh, that's an interesting one.
Mm-hmm.
There goes. Well, see, that one made sense because it was an actual item that you picked up. It replaced your grenade. So I'm not sure how they would do that with the chalice, unless the chalice like has a
Oh yeah, they
recharge
could
time and then just goes off at
Yeah,
that
they could just do
time.
it just like the cleanse. The chalice would have to cleanse. The chalice holder would use a cleanse button, and it would actually take the place of the grenade. They could actually, just straight up do that.
And need
Yeah, I
to
suppose,
recharge
yeah.
the super.
That would be kind of cool. What if you were still able to shoot? Because with the way the chalice works now is that one person's holding it, and then you have to walk up to them and hold the X to take it from them, and then that's Xbox, I suppose. But you can still shoot, right? It's not a third person deal where you can't do anything else. That would be pretty
Correct.
cool. That would be pretty cool. I don't know. Who knows? Bell Bunny says, and I agree.
All right, so continuing. Loot. Loot. Aside from the usual thrill of battling aliens with your favorite weapons and your most trusted allies, hard mode beckons with treasures all its own. We reserve some coveted awards for the best raiders among you. Killing Crota will give you all a fighting chance to earn them. Check out the hardware. So then they go on to list the array of weapons. Spoilers ahead if you're concerned about this stuff, but it's all in the weekly update. Primaries that you can be pulled from hard mode are Abyss Defiant, an auto rifle. We will not go quietly. It has a solar charge on it. The Fang of Uryut, that's a scout rifle with an arc charge on it. This is the shape and the point of the tooth. Nothing has ever lived that will not die. Oversoul Edict, that's a pulse rifle with an arc charge on it. The light of the will of Crota shines down like a vast and inverse sun. Word of Crota is a void hand cannon. There was life, and he spoke unto it, and it was silent, and lived no more. And don't forget that hard mode is the only place to obtain the Crooks of Crota, the final piece needed to upgrade Eidolon Ally, the gun formerly known as Husk of the Pit, to its full necrocasmic glory. Eternity is very close. Can you feel yourself slipping? For rewards, they'll also have the ship Bane of the Dark Gods. And there is a unique shader called Glowhu, but they say that the first of you to earn it gets to show it off. So I imagine it's got to be fairly interesting. They go on to say that Tuesday, January 20th, update 1.1.0.4 will hit, and that will set the table for this. And on Wednesday, January 21st, you need to follow them on Twitter. There will be a manual start for hard mode. He says, I'll swing from vine to vine in our studio to give you a glimpse at what it's like when we push big red buttons. Our target will be 10 a.m. Pacific, West Coast. Just like you, we hit most of what we shoot for. Nevertheless, stay tuned. So, are you guys excited? Is there any of those weapons in particular that you're looking forward to getting? Myself, I'm super psyched about that scout rifle.
it's funny as I look at this, and I know that the hard mode's coming, and then I like I said, I hadn't even finished the normal mode. All of this, all of the dark below, the down below, all of the dark below has only made me more excited for the House of Wolves. Like I want to say that I'm excited about these weapons, but really I don't. I don't like things that are asymmetrical or like in a lot of all of this armor and gear, it's all kind of hive looking, and all my brain can think about is how awesome all of this fancy stuff is going to look once we get to the House of Wolves. Like I can't wait to do that raid. I can't wait to get those weapons. Like these ones are cool, and I would love to have them. But at this point in time, like I don't have the time to put into it, and I wish I did. And because I don't, I'm just looking forward to the House of Wolves. But I'm glad that you are looking forward to these things, and hopefully I will find time to gather up some of these pieces of gear and things like this. But yeah.
Something
River,
very interesting. Oh, go ahead.
what do you think, River? Are you excited about these things? Oh, River's gone. He's not excited about these things.
Oh, except I was on mute. I was saying I'm not really particularly excited for any of the weapons. The only thing I'm really, really wanting is that Bane of the Dark God ship. That's sick.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that. So do you already have a primary from the Vault of Glass for each of the elements?
No, I mean I have what's the name of the scout rifle? Hit me.
Vision of Confluence?
Yep, I have that one. I love it.
It is a good piece of gear.
I mean, people would argue because it still has 300 attack. I don't care. I'll sit you down.
I use it constantly.
It is a good weapon, and even like in a solar burn situation, it's basically
Invaluable.
heaven sent. Yeah.
Yeah.
I found against the little shanks in any other type of burn, it's great to have it just to take out the solar covered shanks.
Right? It's amazing to take those out. Those shields are basically invincible.
Yeah, like I still have issues with non-color shields on like the burn missions, just because it's like, well, I could use this and it takes twice as long still. So why not have a slight combination? Just know what you're going into.
Right.
Makes sense to me. Warlock?
I am looking forward to definitely getting that Crux the Crota. I really want to see the Necrochasm and play with it. It looks like a really fun auto rifle, especially once you get the perk for it. It seems pretty sweet. Basically, the perk for it, for those who don't know, makes every thrall that you kill precision-wise a cursed thrall explosion.
That's
So
awesome.
or not thrall, it's hive period. It's not just thrall.
Oh, it's all hive. That's
It's all
awesome.
hive. So that'll be fun to play with. But I would really like to get the pulse rifle, honestly. I think that'd be good. But I do like pulse rifles. I'm one of the few, I feel.
Man, you totally are. I mean, and you know what? And I wish that I could give you the pulse rifles that I've been picking up, because I just don't use them. I just don't have room for them in my inventory, and it really seems like that's what I've been getting. The majority of the stuff that I've been getting dropped from, legendary chances are pulse rifles, and I would just give them to you. I got this really sweet one that's got third eye, and it's fully auto. I think that's the same one. Either that, or I've got one that has third eye and one with full auto. But you could have them. You could have them, Crimson Warlock. I don't want to not even charge you. You don't need to give anything to me. I wish I could just give them to you. Agrios.
Something very interesting I noticed about the auto rifle and the scout rifle, at least, is that the first of the two primary abilities that like you see on the faceplate of like the legendary items The first of the two primary abilities is switchable. It's alternatable, it appears. Like, for instance, on auto rifle, it appears as though you can alternate between, I think it's focused fire that like the Soros has, that when you aim down the sights, it fires slower but does more damage, and greater accuracy from the hip. And then the Fang of Ur-Yut looks like it can flip back and forth between like focused lens and maybe like reactive reload or something like when your clip's empty, your gun reloads faster. But it looks like you have options on those abilities, which is quite interesting.
That is interesting. That'll be
I
very
didn't
cool
notice
to
that.
find more about. That's awesome.
And then when you go down further, the Necrochasm also has in a couple other spots, it looks like either switchable or bonus abilities. It actually seems more like a bonus ability on the Necrochasm, up where it shows that it does arc damage. It also shows beside that like a bonus ability. It looks like melee damage causes faster reloads symbol, if I'm interpreting it right.
Good question.
Actually, I don't think that ability on Fang of Ur-Yut is one that we've seen yet.
The second one?
Yeah, I'm pretty
No,
sure.
the second one's focused lens. It's on a couple things. It's like an eye inside a target sign, and it says zoom is increased for this weapon. It's not a very common ability.
Well, on like the database, it's called Target Mark. Enemies hit by this weapon are briefly highlighted.
Ooh.
Oh, that is a unique ability. That is awesome.
Oh, that's cool.
It looks like the. Do you know what I'm talking about that I thought it was? The focused lens that doesn't appear underneath the scopes. There's one that looks just almost like that symbol. It's an eye inside a target sign. And it gives
I'll
you
have
greater
to-
zoom on a weapon. It's pretty rare, but that's really nifty, that ability.
Hey, Jazz, doesn't Thorn have that ability?
Technically, it does, but
Hmm.
Yeah, because it highlights them
some-
with damage over
yeah.
time.
yeah, it highlights them if you know what you're looking for.
Like little green ripples on their skin.
That's crazy. That's crazy and very cool.
I'm really excited for that Fang of Ur-Yut. That's going to be my number one fingers crossed weapon that I get.
Scout Rifle Hype Squad.
Yeah. It's got third eye and stuff too. I love third eye.
Yeah, me too. Is that it, Agrios?
Well, no, next we move on to the pentathlon. I wasn't sure everybody had their say on that there. Next we move on to the pentathlon. Back to school. At Bungie, we have many traditions that define our culture. Some of them are as common as devouring bagels on Friday or announcing birthday parties to thunderous applause. All of these things that make us who we are, of all the things that make us who we are, there is one sacrament that is held most sacred, the pentathlon. Our winter event is equal parts civil war and celebration. If you've been following Bungie for years, you know the madness that awaits us tomorrow. It's a party and a battle. If you're new to the Bungie community, and we know that many of you are, I'll tell you what I tell each and every new hire who first sees the hallowed fifths. Of all the trophies we keep on display, the ridiculous ones we reserve for ourselves, is our favorite. For one day, we clear the table of all development of games, and we play games. We join dueling schools based on tenure, newbies versus middle school versus old school versus grizzled ancients. We fight for supremacy in our own crucible. We solve riddles crafted by our own evil engineers. We toss beanbags into holes as we slowly go insane under the influence of a bacchanal feast. That I can almost say that word. I recall the last time they held the pentathlon. That was before the game was released, and if I'm not mistaken, did the old school win?
I think it was middle school last year.
Middle school won. It came down to middle school versus old school. I don't recall, but I remember following it quite closely last year. Do you guys intend to tune in? Are you guys excited for this event?
I'm excited for what they
I'll
couldn't show
probably
us last
watch it
year.
on Twitter for sure.
Like there was a lot that they couldn't tell us. Like they left out details of certain things that they were doing, and I was hoping that was sparrow racing. Like they hadn't shown us this yet, so that was one of the things. But it turns out that it was not that, or at least it wasn't in the game. So But yeah, I'm excited to see what goes on there. And if it wasn't such it's clearly a very intimate gathering of people in the studio. But it would be cool if they had old school, new school, newbies, grizzled ancients, and then outsiders. Like community. Like there's a huge opportunity to have people come in and hang out, and participate in this outside people. I think that would be really cool. And this is not just because I live right down the street from Bungie. that would be assuming that they were going to invite me, and that's more narcissism than I have in my blood. But it would be way cool to. And I'm looking forward to seeing what they have in this Bungie Pentathlon. Looking at all those cabinets of liquor, though, makes me sick. I was just thinking about all the times I've drank too much alcohol, and then no. River, are you excited about these times? He's muted again, or he's already playing Destiny. That's what's going on here. Already playing Destiny. We took too long, you guys. Crimson Warlock, you said you're going to check it out?
Oh yeah, I will watch all the Twitter updates tomorrow. Just because I do a lot of social networking at work.
Awesome. Jez, will you be watching it?
Well, hopefully I'll be watching my step and not running into some survivor gonna shoot me in the face. But yeah, I'll be keeping track of it. If not now, then in the future after it's all completed.
Got it. All right, Agrios, why don't you give us your take, and then is there anything else that is vital we should talk about?
Well, I'm excited that Bungie is this excited about their game. I'm excited that they're into their game. I mean, some studios, other than their obvious PR face to the world, you don't see anything from them, any sort of intimate interaction like this. That you just don't. They don't. A lot of companies don't project that sort of face to the world, and it makes me excited that Bungie is this excited about their game. I'm like you, Remy. I'm hopeful that they will share more than they able to share in the past. I'm interested to. I'd be really interested to see video of these matches going down. I'd like to see a game of these developers from a new perspective. How do the developers fight each other in PvP? That all kind of interests me.
Yeah.
And no, go ahead. What?
I didn't say anything.
No, and but here it also makes me a little sad because, for the love of God, give us custom matches. I wanted to organize this same sort of exciting event for people in the community. I want a Guardian 1 pentathlon.
Yeah.
Like, I want this ability. Why can't we organize our own custom PvP matches and tournaments and things?
Yeah, you know what? That was something that I've wanted for so long, and even before Destiny came out, I was looking forward to a way of setting up these matches and having our own championships. Like weird things. Like I wanted to have an opportunity to. Yeah, put together our own tournaments. That I can't even imagine why they don't already have private matches out. And this makes me wonder if they're ever going to. You know what I'd really like to know? This is what I'd really like to know. There's many opportunities for people. They say, well, this isn't Halo. Like I will say that people want something that another first-person shooter has or another game has, and then people will say, well, this isn't that game. Where is that line drawn? Where is the line where I can't expect something because it's from another game? Because there's so much similarities in many of these first-person shooters. Where is the line from what I can expect? Like, will we never have private matches? Like, I can't imagine that. But at the same time, like, when will we get it? Are they thinking about it? Is this something they've already wrote off? And this goes down the line, Forge style manipulation of in-game items. Like, where is the line? Where is the line of what I can hope for in the future of Destiny? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Remember when I predicted, like 2 weeks after launch? Yeah, I was off the mark a little.
You know what, though? They might have even wanted that. There might be reasons why they don't have... I mean, can you imagine if somebody figured out a way to cheese experience or something from within, private matches? Like, that's got to be hard to balance.
Well, you just if it's totally private match, you just have it not provide any important reward for that. I mean, the reason you're running a private match isn't for rewards; it's for a specific private event with friends.
Yeah.
I mean, if you try hard enough, you can get team versus team.
Yeah, this is true. This is very true. But that all seems like a like
That's
if
a cross
you
your fingers and push a button and hope for luck situation.
Well,
Right.
it's a little bit easier than
Yeah, a
just
little bit easier.
hoping.
Yeah.
I would say that if you were trying to do something like if you were trying to do a stream, like, okay, now we're going to start this tournament, like, you should really be able to just say, now we're going to this, here's these people already ready to play, like this is not conducive, like the way that things are laid out is not conducive to that.
And when I say custom matches, I mean like we were going to pick what map and what mode and everything this next match is going to be. Like, if you want to have the first round of the tournament, each of the fire, you have it all skirmish and every fire team fight the first round on blind watch, you should be able to do that.
Yeah.
Well, and honestly, it's kind of surprising of how many bigger companies like still doesn't even support that. Like, honestly, it's surprising with how big a reception Hearthstone's gotten that there's no spectating mode in Hearthstone. Running tournaments with Hearthstone is a pretty difficult deal to do. People have had to make their own custom overlays and everything like that, and it just kind of surprises me that a company like Blizzard didn't integrate that in the game when it launched.
Yeah. That makes sense to me. Right on. Well, I would like to end the show here, so why don't we do some shout-outs, starting with Agrios.
I'd like to shout out to Remy for rounding this podcast up and putting it all together and going through all the work he does to make it happen. It wouldn't be here if it weren't for him, and we all owe him our thanks.
That is awesome. I appreciate it. Thank you. Jez.
Shout out to our lovely people in our chat and people that listened later, because without them, I wouldn't be the villain I am today.
Crimson Warlock.
I'm going to shout out to a Facebook group I'm a part of, Destiny Bros. We play a lot together. We're able to get a bunch of groups, and it looks like we're going to try and start getting a hard mode Crota raid group going through that group. So shout out to them. They're a lot of fun. They've been a big help, and I've enjoyed helping them as well.
Destiny Bros. Awesome. I'm going to be looking at that. River. Oh, he's just gone.
Shout out to Bell Buddy.
Right. I was just going to say.
She's running the raid with me.
Cooking, yeah, something like that. Yep, there we
go. Awesome. And I would like to thank everyone listening for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the show. If you have any questions or comments, please send them to feedback@guardian1.net, or leave a comment on the YouTube section, or send us an email at feedback@guardian1.net. And we will see you next week. Goodbye.